You're watching the Juice Consumer Direct podcast. I'm Carson Poppenger with Jacob Thorpe, and we're joined here today with Brock Thompson from LendingTree. Welcome, Brock.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having me on. This is great. How are things?
Great. You know, we have this podcast. We like to just have people from the industry on and talk about things that are relevant going on in the industry today. Our audience is a lot of marketers and people in sales and consumer direct sales and marketing, and love to hear from people in the industry. And so it's great to have you.
Yeah.
Outstanding. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for considering me and including me.
Yeah, of course. We appreciate you taking the time to join. First, for those who are listening and tuning in, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got your start in the industry and how you ended up where you're at.
Yeah, I think like most people, I think I set out after college to get into digital marketing, right? And it's what we all do.
Yeah.
And, 20 years ago now. I mean, it seems like yesterday I jumped in. So I'm here in Cleveland, Ohio, by the way. So if you start seeing it randomly go from sunny to snowing, you know why. And I was fortunate enough to join a company, insurance.com here in Cleveland. Back in the early 2000s, and I started as an actual insurance agent selling insurance policies on the phone, moved up through that organization as a scrum master, product owner, affiliate manager, biz dev, all of those things from, '05 until we sold to Quinn Street in 2010. And from there, just was fortunate enough. There's so many wonderful people in this space. Was fortunate enough to be able to start a company, Moss Corporation, with some of the folks from insurance.com. From there, was able to grow up through Drips down in Akron, Ohio, an SMS platform over there, and then Quote Wizard, who was bought by LendingTree in 2018, was one of my original clients back in the day before they were even named Quote Wizard. And I had known Scott Paree, who is the CEO of LendingTree now and was the CEO of Quote Wizard, again, 20 years ago. And I'd always said, if I had a goal in the space, it was to work with Quote Wizard, right? Not just as a partnership, but like for Scott and the team. They just amazing, brilliant individuals. And I had the opportunity to join in 2019 and spearhead a number of different programs from us, from building out a P&C agency to a Medicare agency. I now run all of our inbound and outbound calls and our SMS programs and our AI voice, and effectively just try and help make sure that when we are talking to our customer, the company, the carrier, we're keeping that alignment in there. So, I've learned from a ton of folks throughout my 2 decades in the space, but I'm honored to continue to be relevant as things are.
That's awesome.
That's great. Great background.
Yeah, I was going to say, I love that you started out as like a sales agent. I feel like that's such a great foundation to understand the nuances of business and how it impacts, those people on the front lines. I started at Squeeze as a sales agent too, and that was my experience. And I still, a lot of the things that I learned, like the psychology of being on the floor and taking a lead and how that impacts conversion rates and customer sentiment, and also the perception of leaders when you've got a bunch of salespeople who are complaining about the leads. Like, it really allows you to have a holistic view of what of the product that you're putting out, the service that you're creating.
Yeah, fulfilling that goal. And today you're the VP of Customer Fulfillment, right, for LendingTree. That's your role today.
Yeah, that's correct. VP of Customer Fulfillment over here. Like I said, I've done it all. I was a C-suite for a couple of companies, executive vice president, and just learned, right, all of this, as you were saying, right? What do customers want? How does that conversation need to go with customer client? And now we do that, right? So my team is directly responsible for communicating with those customers and ultimately identifying what their need is, where are they best suited, and how do we help them navigate that big decision on the insurance side or potential lending side and all of those things. So it's been great to lead this group.
Yeah, absolutely. It was some sad news, obviously, this past year with Doug Lebda. He's the founder of LendingTree. His sudden passing when we were at Lead Generation World, there was, I think, a great tribute to him there, and you were up on stage and kind of talked about that a little bit as well, and how that sort of rippled through the organization. And hearing stories about Doug I've never met Doug. I didn't have an opportunity to, but I heard stories about him and the way he interacted with the team and people's experiences with him. And he was just a giant of a person. And do you want to talk about that at all? What you experienced there?
Obviously tragic event, and our heart and just absolute empathy goes out to Doug, his family, and the entire organization. He was there from the late 1900s, right, and led this thing through difficult times in the housing crisis in the 08, 09, and what a personality, what a great energetic leader, knew everything about his people, his company, his product, was very, very in tune with kind of how and where the industry was going. It really instilled in all of us. And I didn't know Doug overly well. I'm in Cleveland. Obviously, he was in Charlotte. And when we would see each other, we would joke a little bit as a Browns fan, and he was a Steelers fan. We would have a little bit of banter back and forth. But, being in his presence, you knew that somebody was working on something special. And he wanted to empower his people to do something special. And it's great now that Scott Puri is taken that mantle and kind of running forward. Scott is a phenomenal leader, just an absolutely phenomenal leader. He's a Seahawks fan, so he's having a great week right now from where he's at. But we're very privileged to have the leadership that we've had between Doug and Scott and others over here. So no doubt that legacy will be carried forward.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And as we were sort of preparing to talk here today, we were talking a little bit about the reputation and quality that LendingTree has in the industry. And I know Jacob had some thoughts on that, from his experience and the way we've interacted with LendingTree.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, we at Squeeze, we're basically a contact partner for a lot of these consumer direct brands. And as part of that, we do a lot of lead scoring. We do a lot of feedback with our partners so that they can see, hey, how many bad leads are being sent, how many opportunities are being sent, what are the contact rates and the conversion rates and things like that. And usually when we see that a LendingTree lead is coming over, that is a good sign for us. It's synonymous with quality and a good lead. And I think that that's really unique because in the world that we live in, that is rarely the case. So I'm interested in hearing from your perspective. Obviously, you have run kind of the gamut of the whole cycle of lead generation and even sales. How do you view that culture and that reputation to be built?
Yeah, you don't get to be in the space for 20 years and be able to pick up the phone and call a lot of people, brilliant individuals throughout the space that will mentor or guide or give back unless you've built that trust, right? And it starts there. Individuals like Doug and now Scott and we have Ian Smith as our COO now. They really instill that mentality. You have to create that trust with your client, right? That trust with the consumer. We want to be the number one destination for financial products. And you can't be there and be that product without establishing an alignment. And when you think of it, right, it's we've all sat at a stool that's got four legs and it's wobbly, right? And it tilts somewhere. But if you've ever sat on a three-legged stool, it's pretty stable. It may be slanted, but it's a pretty stable stool. And we look at things that way and we say, okay, how do we become the most valuable partner to anyone? Well, it's financial, technological, and emotional stickiness, right? We want to be emotionally sticky. We want people to trust us. We want to be able to give our word and follow up on it. Even when something isn't great, we want that accountability back. We want to carry on that dialogue. And then technologically, right, we want to make sure that we're thinking ahead. We're delivering products that stand the test of time, that are up. The numbers are accurate. We're dependable, right? We're innovating. We're bringing the features there that either the customer wants or our client wants that we can help deliver. And then obviously financial kind of goes without saying. You want to make some money. You want to save some money. You want to pay on time. You want to have that feedback loop, again, that accountability loop back. And if you can do those things really, really well, and again, this is kind of how we look at our world, it's really hard to replace you. and you're doing right by the customer, you're doing right by the company, you're doing right by your lender, your carrier on that side, and that alignment, then you can have that open conversation, even again, when the conversation is difficult.
Yeah, we live in a world, and you live in a world where performance is always being, evaluated, and partners that are acquiring, lead traffic and trying to convert leads, they have to make sure they're putting their dollars in places that get the best ROI, and it's there's a lot of accountability in that, right, and a lot of in that dynamic to make sure that you're constantly performing. We're in the same sort of boat with the way we operate, where, on live transfers that we do, we're only paid on the live transfers that we send over, and we have to send over a volume and conversion rate that's acceptable to the client. It has to have quality that they're going to continue to, be excited about the calls that we're sending, or else our relationship will be short-lived. And so performance is like the utmost, and delivering on that promise and that accountability, like you said, with technology, with financial, performance, as well as emotional performance. I think those are three great pillars.
Yeah, technological, emotional, which is like relationship, right? Like you trust, and the accountability, and then financial. Yeah, I love that. I think that's great. And I think if you zoom out on that too, there's different parts of the org that own different parts of that kind
Correct.
of three-legged stool, right?
But we have to work. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but together you have to make sure that those three things are in line, so that the stool's not off balance, right? Yeah. It's like I've got to be working with our tech team to ensure like the integrations we build are perfect, and that we can have great speed to lead, and that we can make sure that there's a token on this, that this is a validated lead, and that there's no issues and legal issues. And then at the same time, I've got to work with my client service team, my partnership team, to ensure that relationship is there, that tough conversations can happen, that there's accountability. Yeah. And then I've got to work with my ops team to make sure that the metrics are where we need them to be, so that it makes sense for. But that starts at the top. That starts with talking about those things and pushing those things.
Yeah, and a clear directive, like this is where we're going, right? This is how we're going to get there. And then everyone has their objective beyond that is measurable. They understand what they're solving for. They understand how success looks in the end of the day. And then, when something happens, and I've got to go talk to my media guy or one of our search gals and say, hey, this is what we saw. This is what we're hearing. This is the feedback, right? Go get more, go get less. Right now you're replicating that same model, the financial, technological, and emotional internally, as you are externally. Your staff then, whether they're working internally or externally, is replicating that model. But you're just creating conversations, right? And accountability. And the joke that I make to my team, guys, been doing this for 2 decades. I've yet to save a baby or a puppy. Right? Like we're not in hero world whenever we're out here. So we've got to do what's right. We've got to push that and work with the customer in that way. And by doing so, we can become dependable. And when we're dependable and people trust us, then we can scale, we can grow.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you guys have obviously had great growth and success with the volume and the scale of partnerships that you run. And that's it's inspiring, seeing what LendingTree's built. So, just thinking about, we were at Lead Generation World, and I saw you. That's actually the first time I saw you. You were up on stage and you were sort of emceeing one of the events. We were talking about some AI stuff. Do you want to talk about Lead Gen World and what that was like?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for what Michael Free has built with Lead Gen World. I liked it in Florida. It's an easier flight than San Diego for Cleveland, but man, what a great venue this year. And at the Gaylord there, had the opportunity to get out. I'm a big avid golfer, so in Ohio, getting a chance to golf in January was amazing. So I was able to get out to Torrey Pines and play, which. That was a humbling experience. The rough, they basically told you if your ball goes off the fairway, which mine always was, takes 60 seconds, and then just drop and hit, because they were prepping it for the tournament in a few weeks. But I enjoy Lead Gen World. I think there's a couple of conferences on the digital space that really speak to us, right, as generators, as deep relationships, and being out there, standing on that or sitting on that stage with the panel that I had, looking at, okay, we're used to generating leads, mobile, desktop, search, social, etc. Now we've got this new thing, AI, right? And years ago, AI was looking for John Connor, and that's what it was back then. And now AI is something that you talk to change a flight, or I talked to one the other day to pay a bill, and we're dabbling in that world now on the LendingTree side to help work with our customers. So you're having to add this new facet in consideration that, one, can be very, very helpful, but two, we haven't yet perfected. And we're still a little bit away from that. So you still have to have that calibration, that finger on the pulse. And it was great to sit up there with 4 gentlemen that are innovating on that front, hear how they're using it, right, to file claims or to take payment, or to look up potentially additional coverage for a consumer, right, and having that help automation on the back end. That was an honor. And I'm going to be doing another one, same general topic, a little bit more focused on the compliance and the growth side of that at the end of April at LeadsCon. Down in Vegas. So
that's awesome.
If you guys are out, come out, and we'll have a great panel up there as well.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll have to. We'd love to get together and grab a drink or lunch or something like that while we're there too. Catch up with you and face to face.
Please, yeah. I'm taller in person.
Yeah, me too.
Someone told me that one time. I went to one of these trade shows, and they're like, "You look exactly like you do on your LinkedIn." That's what they told me, and I'm like, thank you. She's like, I never know.
Yeah.
Like, the shot from 10 years ago, 30 pounds ago. And
yeah, exactly. I got to use AI to groom myself on that one. So.
Yeah, exactly.
When you talk about AI and how you're utilizing it, it's really interesting because consumers are getting more comfortable with AI as well. And I had some discussions at Lead Gen World with some folks in the industry about what things will look like when consumers are using AI to shop for solutions, and how that will sort of direct and change the way we market to them, right? And have you guys had any thought about that, or any developments?
Yeah. It's in fact, I've got a couple
probably without disclosing anything. I was going to say without disclosing anything like sensitive.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Breaking news. It's all AI.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is something that we're in that point of AI where we can start to bring it to customers, but it still takes a lot of human attention to it. And we just haven't, as I'm a shopper, you guys are shoppers, our listeners right now are shoppers of various products, and we don't always know the language that we're shopping for, right? We may want to shop for a car, but now there's going to be unique conversation that happens with a car dealer that maybe AI hasn't picked up on, that a live human can, right? That jargon can kind of come back and forth, and empathy and understanding on that. So I think we are at a point where, yes, AI is going to start to shape sort of how we're all interacting with our customers, how we're looking for product. We love it as an opportunity to converse with our consumers and hear from them. Like, what things are we maybe not considering? What things are they saying that we now have to build into our language and our lexicon, that as we teach and train that AI, that now we can respond back to the customer in kind. And I think we've all hit that point of frustration, the endless IVR loops with pressing 1 or 0 or yelling representative there. And so I think, and we as customers, we want something different, right? At this point, I think AI offers that nice entry point where, I remember traveling years ago, and one of my buddies had told me, he's like, oh, if you're ever traveling, just make sure you can get somewhere, right? If you're ever delayed or canceled, like, just try to get somewhere, because the closer you can get to home, maybe you can drive or you can find a different flight or whatever. So, from where we're at, if we can just help our customers get that one more step, we can help them get that one path down, then the live human can come in as needed from our consumers. But it's still new. It's still something that we're trying to figure out as consumers as well.
We've tapped into AI. I mean, we make a lot of calls on behalf of our partners, and what we found is the AI, especially like generative, is extremely helpful for us to be able to quantify like data points that are not a disposition. Like it's qualitative things like customer sentiment or common phrases that are being said that like a simple disposition would not gather. And that's so invaluable for our partners. Like, for example, if it's a security company, how many of them said that they went with a competitor? And if they did say they went with a competitor, what competitor did they go with? And did you buy a live lead, or were you working an aged lead, or was it an owned and operated lead? Like there's so much that you can get from this quick summary of data. And we've really tapped into that. And we have partners that are licensing that now because they recognize that like
make better
that.
decisions.
They need that.
Yeah.
We've even had, one of our partners was really struggling with closing a transfer campaign, and they asked us to run all of their sales pitches, like all of their loan officers' pitches, through this generative AI. And the campaign was an equity-based product, and we found that like 70% of the time, their loan officers were pitching an interest rate product. Like they weren't pitching the correct product. So on a propensity campaign for an equity lead, they were pitching interest rate products. And so we sent all of that over to the partner, and they were able to flip that on its head and
retool
it. And now that's like one of the most successful campaigns they have. But it's really interesting, like the visibility that it can give you too.
Sometimes we just assume that things are happening the right way, or that, that things are communicated. There's always that sort of divide between marketing and sales, and the better, collaboration and bridging that gap with technology and with AI, that's a really good use case for that to make better decisions and better, alignment, like as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I think it's great too. The old adage: if you dip a cup of or take a cup of water out of the ocean, there's no shark. You're going to assume there's no sharks in the ocean, right? So it's the same way when you're sampling some calls as a live human. You can't cover them all, right? And you don't hear it on a call. To your point, you assume everything's being done the way that it should. But now all of a sudden you start to look at it through the lens of an AI, through transcription, through sentiment analysis, all these other things, and you start to see things pop up. And now your application of effort is that much more pointed. Your people start to perform better. They earn more, right? It's not this scary thing, right? It's now an opportunistic door opener that okay, I'm now able to go and see, there are sharks in the ocean, but I don't have to be scared of them, right? They're out there. I'm on the sand until they can learn to come on shore. I'm good. I just have to be conscious whenever I get in the water and go from there. And that's really kind of, I think, one of those areas that we're just now starting to tap into in my world that I really, really appreciate and enjoy, because my staff now can perform that role, that pointed, that conversation that we want to have with the customer to build that trust and emotional stickiness.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think that also, like, the accountability that it builds, I think, is such an important piece too. Like we talked about accountability at all levels. It provides just more insight, more data, and more knowledge on what's actually happening with the leads. We run like dedicated teams strictly, so every partner has a dedicated team. So those reps are dedicated to that partner, to that brand, and to all of the jargon that they have. Is it a loan officer? Is it a loan guru? Is it a mortgage advisor? Everything from point A to Z needs to be branded for our partners. And so it's really helpful for us to make sure that we build that brand trust with the customers on behalf of our partners. It's been a great.
Yeah, now I wanted to back up a little bit because you mentioned Torrey Pines, and we're both great. We're both golfers. I wouldn't say great golfers. We're both golfers, and enjoy it.
That hurt.
What a beautiful course! I was out there. I saw the Farmers Open, and just a few weeks after you played, basically. And did you play the North course or the South course? Do you remember? Do you remember which one?
I had the opportunity to play both.
Oh, you played both.
I was out there.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, we should have done that. We were there. Dang it!
I mean, you've got the card.
Oh my gosh!
I'll never say no.
But what a beautiful course! Did you like that? How was that like 200-yard downhill shot like over on I think it was on the North course that by the ocean? That one was that one.
There's a couple of them. There was we played 13 on the South course. Is the par 5. We played it all the way back from the pro tees, right?
Oh wow!
It's like almost a 300-yard carry over the valley. I think one of us made it over at that point, and then we backed it up and we played the downhill from the tips as well. And I think again, one of us made it on the green. I was just short right in the bunker over there, but got up and down. Parred that one, so that was
good.
lucky.
It's a good three.
I sculled the shot out of the bunker that just happened to hit the berm and just kind of rolled up on, and I'm like, okay, there's no pictures in the box score, right? So I'm going to get away with this one. But we had a fun time.
That's an amazing course and so much history, and with Tiger Woods having won his Open there in 2008, and it's we're big golf fans. Do you ever come out to Utah ever? Do you ever get out here? We should play.
Other than layovers, no, I've not been, but I'd love to. I've heard the mountain golf out there is beautiful.
Yeah, we've got some nice courses around here.
Yeah, I love it. We played. There is a PGA event. It's kind of at the end of the season. The Utah Open. It's at a resort in St. George, southern Utah. And it's at this place called Black Desert, and it's incredible. But we played that a week before the tournament. And
FedEx Open. What was it? Was it?
I think just the Utah Open or the Utah Food Bank or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, but it was a good event. But yeah, when they've got it done up for the events, it's a whole different.
Ball game,
You might be able to go play your local muni and kind of know the ins and outs of it, but there's levels to golf.
The roughs are rough.
Yeah, the roughs are rough, and the pin locations, and I mean, it's just absurd. Yeah, it's so fun though.
I was fortunate. I was just say a few years ago, I was fortunate to play Harbortown in Hilton Head
cool.
the Tuesday after they had finished the RBC, and they kept the Sunday placements and tournament conditions.
Yeah.
There's nothing more humbling than a golf course, and there is nothing more humbling than playing on a course that's been prepped for really, really good players, and that is not me in the end. But it was still a great honor.
Oh man, yeah.
I have plans to play down that way in Kiowa Island in April, and I was really excited about it till I was playing with the guy in December, and he said, "Yeah, I played there." He said it was like the hardest course I've ever played. I was like, I think the Ocean Course or something like that. I can't remember the name of it.
But 2 months. I'm
going to have to get the game and dust off the clubs.
Oh my gosh.
Wintertime, we get a little rusty, right? We have to get the feel back. So
I haven't touched the club since, and there's 17 inches of snow here on the ground in Ohio. It's going to be a little bit before I get a chance to get out there. But fortunately, I'm going to escape down to Florida in end of March with some of the guys from my club up here. We're going on a little bit of a golf trip down in Daytona Beach, and we'll get a chance to get a good 10, 11 rounds in while we're down there. So that'll be fun.
Awesome.
Do you play Firestone there in Akron area? Isn't that in Akron or Cleveland?
It is in Akron. There's a couple of guys that belong to the club that are members down there. So I'll get a chance to play a couple times throughout the year. We'll go down and play the north or the south. Both are beautiful, picturesque courses that are down there. It's humbling, right? You're playing on a premier golf course, and trying to come in to 9 at Firestone. You're playing right into the clubhouse overhang, so everybody's up there and they're betting, like literally betting on whether your shot's going to short, long. They're all having their beers, and it just basically watching you, and you're watching the money going back and forth on. I came up short, that guy had me, so it's a fun time.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of fun being out with the boys.
Yeah.
Question for you guys: any hole-in-ones over there? I have none, but any lucky aces?
I have not.
No, I haven't either. In St. George last fall, we took the bunch down. We have a group. We'll go down and play like 6-8 of us, and I hit an 80-yard. It was my 56 wedge. I got an eagle, a holdout for an eagle, 80 yards or so. And it was, nice. That was the best shot probably I've ever, to close out a hole. It was like amazing.
Yeah. I've never had one off the tee though. I've had some like eagle holdouts, but not, I wish.
Lately we've been playing Pebble Beach on the simulator. We have a simulator at the office, and we'll put on I can't remember which hole it is. It's the par 3 on the water. Yeah. They're playing Pebble Beach this week on the tour, but we'll just go in there and we'll all take turns hitting. We'll just play that hole repeatedly. And I don't know, we must have hit a couple hundred shots and nobody's holed it out yet on the simulator.
It'll happen. We gotta stay with it. My grandpa was a stick, and he won a car. He won like just in like the little local Utah ones where like a dealership would sponsor a whole.
Yeah.
That's
I think
awesome.
he's had 3 hole-in-ones,
Wow.
3 or 4 hole-in-ones. And I don't know. I've seen him just hit some insane shots.
I have a cool golf story I'll share here when you talk about like, playing well and being true to your score and everything. I played with a group out in Missouri. They were from Utah last August, and one of the gentlemen, he was like the third generation of running this commercial real estate company here locally. They're pretty big, and anyway, he was telling a story about his great grandfather or his grandfather, I can't remember which, but he was the one that founded the company, and he said that they were playing this tournament, and there was he was paired up with a doctor from Chicago, and they played this tournament, and they were keeping their own score and reporting their scores and everything. And they went to finish, and it was like neck and neck, and they were down to the wire, and they finished the hole, and he said, "You beat me on that hole." And this guy's grandfather, he said, "No, actually, I had an extra stroke over there along the tree. You didn't see it, And he said, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess that means I won the round." And so he won the round, and he gave it to him. And he got a call like a week later to his office, and it was, oh my goodness, now I'm going to forget the person's name. Rockefeller. It was a Rockefeller. Rockefeller called his office and was like, "My brother-in-law played golf with you just a couple weeks ago, and he said that you're the most honest person he's ever met because you were true to your score and everything like that. So I want to work with you." And then they ended up doing like a land deal, and Rockefeller like funded it or something. I can't remember, but just a crazy story. And that's like one of the big founding parts of their company story. And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool."
There's so many business principles that you can just like learn through golf. My grandpa was very much that way. Like, you can tell a lot about a person by the way that they golf and the way they treat other people when they golf too. It's a thing. Yeah. Integrity especially.
Yeah. You want to be better. It's humbling when you can't get the score that you want, but you still got to just send it anyway.
It's just you against yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, it's all mental. Yeah,
It is.
They say it's the distance between your ears, right? That's the one that matters the most in golf. So
for sure.
Well, we'll have to get you out here and play some mountain golf. It's super fun.
Yeah. Yeah. When
the ball flies.
Yeah, you get another 15 yards or something like that off the tee.
Altitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, another club on there. Well, if you guys make it out to Cleveland, I'd love to have you out as well. So
yeah, that'd be great.
We'd love that. Well, we appreciate you hopping on and chatting with us today. This has been awesome. It's been great to
fun
get to know
conversation
you.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we love what y'all are doing, and we're hopeful to receive a lot more LendingTree leads.
Yeah.
From all of our partners.
That's right.
Thank you. We take a lot of pride in that, and we love that feedback from you guys. And look, if there's things we can do better, let us know. Like we're open to having that conversation. We're open to being accountable, right? That term accountability gets thrown around a lot, but whenever you can actually enact on it, and then something happens, that's what a partnership is, and we're happy to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, Brock. You've been watching the Juice Consumer Direct podcast. Make sure you give us a like and follow.
Yeah, let us know if you have any questions or comments. We'll make sure to get to them.
Thanks so much.